All right. For once in recent history, I am on time. You I was looking at the time. I always come in at like 8:01, 8:02 recently, but today we made a big effort to be on time. And we got there probably 3 seconds before 8:01, but we did it. Is the So if you set your mind to anything, it can be done. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Good morning. Good morning. Or I guess for me, it's good evening. I don't know about yourself, but what's up, everybody? Thanks for joining me. We have, this is going to be a long one. I have to, I have to basically keep up on past promises, essentially. One, because I want to, but also I promised some things. So we're going to fulfill those. So the agenda for today, okay? There's a whole lot of stuff. We had BNR. Now, I'm not going to like read every card and like we're not going to go super into the stuff that happened last week because I know anybody that consumes a decent amount of content, I don't want to rehash all of those things. You've probably heard a lot of it. I'm just going to give my general thought, what it's going to do, what it's going to change. Was it good? Was it bad? Things like that. Just real quick, basically catch up from missing last week. Is basically what we're going to attempt to do. Then, the main topic for this stream is going to be just a meta analysis, kind of where things are going. And then, of course, we have the Super Slam tier list on the horizon. Probably not the Wednesday right after the world premiere because I need more than 2 days to analyze the set and give you guys something that's actually has some thought behind it and it's actually good. My goal is not to be the first one to produce a tier list, but the first one to make a good one. It is kind of the goal that I always set for myself. And so the week after. But what we will do is while we're waiting on that one, the week after the world premiere, we're probably going to do an LL. We're going to do an LL tier list. And the reason for that is I think I can look at the new cards and very quickly evaluate whether it's like it has to be glaringly good to impact LL, right? Or there has to be like very niche interactions with the generic slash and then obviously Guardian and like Guardian is pretty relevant in LL, but not so much Brute currently. That could change, right? So that makes the analysis from that end. Of course, we're going to do a show match. That's already in the books. I don't know if Josh is here yet, but I think it's the Friday after is where it is scheduled, if I'm not mistaken. But that is going to be yeah, we do it every season. Like we're definitely going to do it 100%. Your boy is going to be playing Tough Nut. That's the hero that I chose. It's the one that interested me the most because I like kind of. I knew I wanted to play Liath or Tough Nut because of the intellect differential. Obviously, it's like interesting. It's like okay, like there's a lot of ideas and stuff like that. I took Tough Nut because I thought it'd be surprisingly more of a challenge. After kind of thinking it or thinking a little bit about it, maybe it's not. Maybe Liath is actually the bigger puzzle. But because the Tough Nut deck is kind of self-defined in the weapon that you have to use to actually generate any decent number of value. But I think I'm going to surprise some people in the way that mine is built in a particular way to kind of prevent certain people from basically taking advantage of your game plan, essentially. So for the show match, that's what I'm going to be playing. We're going to talk about, like I said, today we're going to talk about the meta change, what's happened. Then I'm going to show completely behind the scenes the Briar deck that I've been working on for LL. I'm going to go over I'm basically going to do a deck tech on it. I'm going to break down why I made the choice on this card. Why is there this bit of spice in it? There is some spicy stuff in there. And You'll have to see it. You'll have to see it. Maybe some people have played around with it, but I haven't seen it in any deck lists that have topped. But we'll see your thoughts when we get there. But I'm going to go over every decision. The sideboard is still kind of being worked out, but obviously, that's going to take. I'm going to need the meta to actually hash that out because that's my extra slots, right? So, and then we're going to hopefully, if we have time, we're actually going to play a game or two with the deck to kind of show how I kind of pilot the deck as people are kind of getting ready for effectively, we have ProQuest season coming up that's going to have a lot of living legend in it, and then also we have the World Championship as well, and even the Philly Calling is LL, and all of those things. So I think there's a lot of attention on LL. I'm not going to divert all of my attention to it, but I'm going to give it what it's basically deemed worth, if you will. Do the card guys still have poker chips for Worlds? Of course. So now that you mention that, I have to actually tell you a story about the poker chip. We got put in a bit of a spot at US Nationals. And Josh was playing a match. It is the funniest thing ever. He was playing a completely, to my knowledge, I think it was a very meaningless match, as in like both people already not made day two, like just finishing the day out kind of thing. Just enjoying some flesh and blood and hanging out, right? A judge sees the poker chip and sees the exchange at the end. And basically told Josh that that's a no-go because it is gambling on the outcome of the game. Even though it literally doesn't mean anything. We were very shocked. We were like, wait, what? What's happening right now? And to the point to where he had to go, the judge went and got like the head judge, I think, and like asked if it needed a disqualification or whatever the case may be. Led to this whole thing. Ended up being nothing. Basically just said, don't do it again. And so, yeah, I don't want to like get disqualified from Worlds by giving you a poker chip because you beat me. So I'm probably just going to be handing them out. I haven't kind of solved that problem yet, but I really don't want to get DQ'd for giving out poker chips. So maybe I'll find a unique workaround where, if you want to challenge me for a poker chip, just blink twice really quickly and aggressively, or more than twice, like 4 times at the beginning of our match. I'll be like, okay, he wants a poker chip. And I'll just find you later and give it to you or something. I don't know. We can find we could find a way around this. I haven't given up hope. That's a little different than an anti. Everybody agreed in the end. The point is that it was even in the realm of discussion. Makes me nervous to just do it. And we've literally done it for years. Josh is giving out 100, and I'm just kidding. This is the most common out there. But, we've given out a lot if you include all of the team. And we've been doing it for quite some time. So we'll figure something out. Maybe we just clarify it with the head judge before. I'm like, let's say, this is what we're doing. Is it cool? And if we get the okay, then like we're good, right? Like we'll figure it out. I don't know what the solution is, but we'll get there. Okay, so let's get started, right? We had, and I was on time as well. I hope you're proud. Thank you for being on time. I appreciate it. So last week I missed a ton. It was the worst. It was the worst week to miss. But unfortunately, I completely forgot that I had like a sleep study. Literally that night. And I don't know if anybody in chat's ever like done that before, but holy cow, is that an experience? And I don't mean a good one. It was interesting to say the least. But you know, it was an experience to remember. That is for sure. Let's see. Let's see. Where did my chat go? It disappeared. Okay. Um, I'm only playing side events, but does that count? Is it? I don't think it actually matters. Like I don't. I think we just need to have a conversation with the judges beforehand, and just be like, "Yo, this is what we're doing. Is that cool? Like we're not actually wagering, or like, you know, there's no benefit. The token's not worth $100. Like you know, shit like that. So like, I think we just need to have a conversation, kind of clear the air, and I think we'll be all right. If not, we'll just go. You know, we'll just find James White, whatever he's doing, and we'll get the okay from him, right? Because we can just interrupt him like that. No, I'm just kidding. We're definitely not going to do that. All right, so let's go ahead and get talking about. So, oh no, not the screen with nothing on it. Okay, look at that. Look at that. We fixed it. All right. So we got a couple things. Obviously, these are the bands. Everybody knows these. You know, nothing's new. Talk a big game. Actually affected my preset tough nut build. Believe it or not, a lot of people have discussed Plume. A little bit of a hit on Verdant's not the biggest hit, but a little bit of a hit. And I think Tipple is like the Tipple and Agony are the in Bonds are the two kind of, you know, um, they're the most impactful. And then Germany, of course, is like Florian got another Earth Blue, the blocks 3, right? Like that's kind of the synopsis. I know it has the inevitable end game state, but I think that if Florian ever gets to that point, he's probably winning anyway, right? And he probably doesn't need Germinate. And if that's toxic or degenerate, then like, what about the deck that actually got to that point and would have won anyway? Is that not degenerate or toxic? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'm not sold on like whether the Germinate is like actually. I don't know if it actually matters, to be honest with you, and I don't really think it too terribly does. So Tipple, we held our stream on kind of like what should be banned if you know we wanted an impact on the meta or whether we wanted to kind of play it safe. And we mentioned Bonds. We literally said it like take up the mantle or Bonds, and then they went with that one. We said Tipple if you really want to affect Gravy. And so that's the angle that Brian obviously chose. And it's an interesting choice. I will say that like I've heard a lot of people, and everybody's going to have their first reaction. They're going to go to Jittery Bones and things like that to kind of find that source of go again. But that solves your go again problem, kind of. It's still kind of clunky, but like now you don't have the gold gen. So do you go to Loan Shark for the gold gen? Do you go half Loan Shark, half Jittery Bones? Like there's a balance there, but no matter what you go to, the deck is weaker. The deck is not as fluid. You can't apply pressure and develop your game state at the same time, or you very rarely can, is the very important aspect of that band. And it is going to be very impactful, like absolutely impactful. And now Germinate is huge. I would love, I mean, you have turn 0 high roll, right? Like I've played a lot of Flooring games and I've probably resolved 5, maybe. I'll block with it all the time and I pitch it every time, right? But like as far as resolving it for its actual ability, I don't think it's that big, right? It's turn 0, it's really good, but so Tipple's definitely going to impact Gravy. I think everybody's figured that out. Verdant's flips because of the card. That is true. You do get the life gain, and you do have the out of fatigue, because you do have the ability to kind of like mess with the that is a good point. It's built-in life gain that you don't have to sideboard for. So yes, in that match, you're right. You can up your life total and kind of get outside of the kill range of the normal combo without Plume, right? And plus, they have to get that combo naturally, or they have to pitch stack it, which you can apply the pressure before you get to that point. So that is a good point. It's definitely going to help that matchup for sure. And I am familiar with what you're talking about. 144 damage. Yeah, you don't have to worry about the 144 damage anymore. That's for sure. So, yeah. Overall, big change. You have, Assassin took a big hit with Bonds leaving. It kind of opens up the window a little bit for other aggro decks to actually contend. Slippy gets. I don't think Slippy gets that, like in a vacuum. If you just look at the power level of Skippy, it took a hit, yes. Did it get that much worse? And I think you can kind of summarize this entire ban in this way. The individual power levels of all of these decks that were impacted are going to be a little bit lower, but not like catastrophically lower, not even like really lower, right? But what is going to happen is some things are going to shift. And now, like, if Guardian has room to step into the format because Gravy kind of takes a step back, and maybe a little bit of Verdance also takes a step back, aggro seems like a shit place to be, right? So Slippy, and it's kind of, and we're going to get into this with the meta analysis, his matchups are just shit now. The deck's not shit, just the meta shifted in a way to where he no longer has those favorable matchups. So the Assassin players will naturally retreat to Mario, is where I see kind of the shift mainly happening. And yeah, so that's kind of my very quick kind of, just overview of kind of the very brief impacts of these bans. New meta Azuri. Stop it. One day, it means Jarl and Ira are unplayable. That would imply that Jarl is playable in the first place. Got him. No, Jason's deck was good, but I even talked to him after, and he's like, I would never take it to a tournament after that, because like the cat was kind of out of the bag at that point, and people could like tech for it, right? So that's one thing you got to kind of keep your eye on. So was Jarl good in a very small snapshot with a unique strategy with a good pilot? Yes. Holistically as a deck, it's kind of dog shit, in my opinion. Okay. So let's move. Whoa, hold up. Take a back. No, I'm not gonna take it. Try to go in the locals with the guy who invented that Jarl list. That's fair. Okay, maybe I should go to that armory and get a different perspective. Maybe. But no, you should be able to tech for it. You'll be all right. You should be able to tech for it. All right, we also had the content creator grants go out, and I just want to say a huge congratulations to not only the top 5 that got it, but the 10 that were also recognized here. The main one that I was kind of rooting for was Aggro Blaze. I just want to do a quick shout out. I think he's been doing an absolutely phenomenal job on the stream, his energy. I mean, he's at the frequency, almost streams every day, if not every day. I mean, literally just all the time streaming, and keeps the energy. That is from somebody that had a higher frequency before, never to his, extent. But like I used to do 2 a week sometimes, because I do some on Twitch, and I would do a little bit of back and forth, and it's exhausting. It really is. And so, but he just keeps the energy, and he's doing a really, really good job, and I think he deserves every ounce of the recognition. There's also a lot of great names on this list as well. There's one thing that I really wanted to kind of uh, kind of push from this. Something I would love to see, kind of whenever they decide to do this again, if they decide to do this again, I don't know. Just by the name of it, 2025 content creator grants, I would assume that they'll be doing it once a year. Is how I interpret this, or they would just say content creator grants if it was a one time. So I'm making the assumption that this will be done yearly. Um, and you know, uh, I would love for the Talishar team to be on this list. I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Um, though I know it goes. I know the idea of Talishar goes against the main mission statement, and it creates this kind of dichotomy or situation. If you kind of like, you know, give recognition to those people. But one thing that I really want to just emphasize is I want everybody just to imagine what would have happened in High Seas Nats season if Talishar did not exist. Um like it's I don't know. Yeah, you're 100% right that Talishar can't replace in-person play, and it never will, and I would never want it to. But in my opinion, it's completely irrefutable about the impact that has on the game, both in, um, yeah, it's not a threat to the community. Oh, that's how you meant it. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. They're not even trying to, right? I don't think that's their goal in any way. They just want a quick, easy, accessible. Like, what if you taught somebody how to play the game and then they were like, "Oh yeah, I want to play this like, before I get the cards or whatever." Oh yeah, you got to download this TTS client. You got to learn uh, 40 shortcuts on your keyboard to play efficiently, and you got to like worry about dragging too many cards or clicking the draw button twice, so you draw 22 cards. Like all of these like inconvenient, and then you have to know the rules, right? Whereas Talishar, you can kind of lean on it and be like, "Oh, I didn't know it worked that way. Let me undo." Right? Um, I mean, there's just so many benefits. And I think that's where I kind of misinterpreted this whole, I don't know, program, whatever you want to call it. When it was announced, I thought it was like, let's award, the content creators. But I guess what it ultimately ended up, or at least from my observation, it was more of a like, let's invest in these content creators. So it was not really a reward structure, but an investment structure, which I guess can be interpreted the same, but the premise is different. It's not what have you done, it's like your trajectory, right? Which I'm not hating on in any way. I'm just saying that it was a slight misinterpretation. And there is no trajectory with Talishar, right? It's a service. It's a way that people can interact with the game. And there's no like very apparent way that they can like, oh, here's $5,000. Okay, that's going to pay for the server space, right? But there's no like investment reward from that money, yeah, other than making the talent sharp, supporting the talent sharp devs. So I don't know. I would just, man, I really wish they would consider, and not just that, but like also Philip and February, like content creators. If there's a camera, it's very easy to get recognized, right? Um, it's very easy to acquire attention if you have a camera or you're in people's faces with your ideas and things like that. But you take every, I, I can guarantee this. You take every view, click, comment, like, from every content creator in the entire space of flesh and blood, and it would not equal the traffic to Fabrary. I can guarantee that it would not. 100% guarantee that you add up all of that from every single one of us, and it wouldn't equal the traffic to Fabrary. It's an invaluable resource. So maybe it deserves its own little appreciation thing, or maybe this isn't the correct way to lump it into a category. I don't know. I'm just saying that, man, they just have the best thing that I could literally compare it to is literally Ethan's production. Right? You take like Ethan's production and look at like what it's done for the game. I would say that resources like Fabrary and Talishar have like produced equivalent value, like the same level of like impact, and it's a lot of impact, right? So I don't know. Just a thought. I don't know who's going to see this or whatever the case may be, but once again, none of that is to take away from these amazing content creators that really just earned their spot to be there. I just want to congratulate them one more time, especially Zach up at the top. Mr. Agroblaze just does a phenomenal job on those streams. So let's go ahead. We already went over the banner restricted, and obviously I was kind of checking the dates on the world premiere, obviously, because that's kind of a very important date. That's when we'll have access to all the we have access to most of the cards because of something unfortunate. I'm not going to get into the leaks. Everybody's had that conversation. That that ship has sailed. But what can you do? And unfortunately, our card was one of them. But Josh made the most of it and made a pretty funny video. So we did the best with what we could. And yeah. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the meta. Let's do it. Go and talk about it. Okay. Let me get caught up in chat first. Yeah, Talishar team works hard. I'm telling. Imagine Natsies without Talishar, where nobody could get product. I'm telling you, U.S. Nats, literally nobody would have showed up with the new heroes. They would have been all of them combined like 2% representation. Nobody would have had reps or cards. We barely had cards. I got my cards at 9 o'clock at night, the night before the tournament. That's when I got my cards. And not even everybody got their cards. So like it was wild. Okay, it was wild. And Talishar is the only way I can really prep. I don't have time. Yeah, I mean, it's just an amazing resource, and it's never going to take away the mission of the game. I think maybe they're worried about the image of like, oh, if we support Talishar, then we're supporting not playing Flesh and Blood in person. I don't think those things are necessarily have to be true. I really don't. In my opinion. But I could be wrong. Okay, but 5K would go a long way towards server space. I'm sure. Servers do not run for free, right? They don't grow in trees, if you will. Surprised LSS hasn't acquired Talishar. That's going to the point to where, okay, I understand the argument of like, how can you acquire Talishar or have an online client but like, you can like, if it was me, okay? If it was me, if I had the keys of the kingdom, what I would do is I would just make an article and just literally just say, thank you for the appreciation, or thank you for your support and the software that you have developed that is pivotal to the community, right? just a thank you. And then maybe, slide them a little support under the table. Maybe there's no record of it. Maybe there's no, whatever the case may be. And, just support them. Not everything comes down to, money and stuff like that, but just, it's a lot. Those people, they literally program the cards within hours of them being released. Like, literally. Okay, moving on. I think it's important philosophically that they don't own town. Yeah. That's where I was getting at it. I agree. Does Florian LL by the end of the year? We're going to talk a lot about Florian. I think I think people are jumping to some conclusions, right? Catching as much of the stream as I can before your flight. Thank you for joining me. And I hope you enjoy the world premiere. Do you expect these new heroes to do anything in the face of Earth and Gravy? Yes, I do. I don't know which ones. The two that I am leaning toward the most of having impact are Tough Nut and Homegirl, Pleiades. Those are my two kind of like picks out of the set. A lot of people might be high on like Goliath. I am not. I think the deck is going to try and. So here's the thing. Okay, I'm just speaking from a development aspect, right? We found out from Breyer that like the worst thing you could do is errata hero text, right? Like it's a disaster. Like people don't know what the hell's going on. Just whatever the case may be. Errataing a hero is the worst thing that you could possibly do. So when you make your first official hero that has 5 intellect, I feel like from a design and development perspective, you almost have to play it a little safe. Not too much, right? Like you don't have to like make him just dog shit, right? But I think you have to make sure because it's 5 intellect, right? Like you might could get there with generics, right? Like there's a world where like I don't know. It's interesting. And and I'm not saying that they have or that they did do that. That is just without seeing half the cards, like it's an idea, it's a thought. But I'm very interested to see how close they kind of like, kind of test the waters on that. Um, I think it'd be really interesting. It'll kind of speak to their confidence because if they really take it up to the edge and they nail it, man, it'd be amazing. From just introducing a 5 intellect hero that really clicks. It's fun. It's powerful. That would be checking a lot of boxes from a dev and design perspective. And if they pull it off, then like fuck it, man. Like if you're good, you're good, right? But we'll see. We'll see. That's right. Prevention is not halved. And I think that's what everybody's doing. They're doing like fiddlers and stuff like that. So like that's where everybody's jumping to first. And that's kind of where I'm getting at is like if you can't just start banning 20 generic cards because of Lyeth, right? Like if it's not super balanced, you would have to like change the hero text because that's the only relevant part. Really, the only relevant part is that 5 number. And you can't errata that because then the hero just is like a limited hero, like worse than Olympia. Well, maybe not that bad. No, I'm just kidding. But like, you get what I'm saying. So it's interesting. Does Florian LL by the yeah, we're gonna talk about that 100%. I think LSS would prefer if metas are unsolved going into big tournaments. That means online clients are big no-nos. So they haven't said that. They have not. Look, okay. Make this very easy. Okay. For those of you who are not familiar with um the Rift Bound, the League of Legends card game that's coming out very soon. It's already out in the APAC area, but it's also coming out in next month, I think, is when it's dropping. They had somebody like the Taushar devs called Pixelborn that made a little client to play the game. And Riftbound immediately just shut it down. And the legal verbiage that was used to enforce that was data collection was not allowed on their assets or the use of their assets. It was like a term, or it was uh, I forget how it was worded exactly legally, but that was the idea. And my point being, if that sets an example, right? And then, you know, if LSS really did not want data collection and meta solving and things like that from a like data and statistical standpoint, because nobody's solving the meta by playing random games. The meta becomes solved when you get 20,000 games played in a very short amount of time and who has the highest win rates. That's how metas are solved. It's not by one person playing 100 games. Not how you solve a meta, unless you're just like one of the best players, right? So the data is where the information is, and they could just include that into their products from now on, and then literally just kneecap data collection if they wanted to. Um, so I feel like if they could do that, and they've shown that they're willing to go down that route because they literally sent a cease and desist to FabDraft or whatever the fuck that website was. So like they're more than willing to do it. They've shown us. Um, so I'm just saying, if that was the real reason that they don't want a solved meta too quickly, that it would have done happened, is what I'm saying. My opinion. The new Brook. Actually, I'm actually recalling a conversation that I can't disclose. Um, fuck. Yeah, you might be right. I'm recalling a conversation that I'm not privy to disclose. Um, okay. I think we may have salvaged. Probably not. Okay. All right, chat. We are back. We are back. Okay. Let me know if we're back, chat. I think we're back. Okay, we did it. Okay. Um so clearly we got DDoS by LSS. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, sorry, to your point. Uh that's fine. I do recall a conversation that I had with somebody, and I think you're right. I do think that they don't like it. Whether they're willing to act on it or not, that's a different story. But I can't disclose uh, said conversation. So, yes, we can also talk about the new heroes as part of the meta discussion, which we're going to go to right now. Before the internet drops again for no reason. Um, so let's go ahead and just move on over to. I'm gonna use my old favorite screen. Not the tier list. We're not doing a tier list. We're just doing some chatting. Okay. I don't want to get everybody get their hopes up, right? Let me move over here. Sorry, we're doing things. We're doing things. I promise. We're gonna get some heroes up. Okay. No tier list, but we are talking about the meta and kind of how things are changing. Okay. So we had the meta change, obviously with the bands, and then we had a couple new cards with the Master Guardian pack. Um, all sorts of stuff. Okay. And why does that say no data? Okay. Everything's green, so I think it's working. So if I'm going to keep going until I see F's in chat. Fuck it. All right. So we had the bands, obviously, right? And now everybody's literally already panicking about Florian, like in disarray, right? They're like, oh God, he's back. He's just going to run the meta. And I want to take a second to explain what's happening. Okay. Okay. Florian's a good deck. Florian has been a good deck ever since the board decks have not existed, right? Florian was absolutely nowhere to be found when Enigma was around, right? And as soon as she left, insert Florian immediately, right? The card pool is good. Of course it's good. It's fucking Runeblade, right? Best card pool in the game. Not biased at all, right? And we had that exact same situation. People think that Florian, or not Florian, but Gravy's dead because he lost Tipple, which it did hurt, but like he's not like just gone. And so in comes Florian again, right? The same thing is happening. Okay. Now, what people are not accounting for, and they're jumping way too quick to conclusions, is the meta has not adapted to the adjustment. And this is where, and I've said this multiple times, this is what makes good tier list or meta analysis light years better than other people's, is because you have to look at what's happening now, right? Or more importantly, you need to look at what has happened, what is happening now, and you have to have so much game knowledge that you can predict how things will ebb and flow over the next, so many weeks, months, however long your time period is, right? And so what is basically happening? I can't believe this, but I think for the first time ever, we're going to bring up paint. We're going in, okay? And you guys cannot laugh. Oh my God, I just got flashbanged. We have to fix. Oh, you guys, where is it? Oh God, where is it? Oh, where is it? Properties? Save me. Oh, if anybody in chat can help, where is the setting for dark mode in paint? Because I am dying. Okay, dark. Okay. Whew. Oh, it's still bright. It's still bright. Okay, can we change the background? Background. Okay, it's not as bad. Holy shit, we're bringing in the paint, boys. Bringing in the paint. Window, give me paint. I should not be doing this for the first time live. Misplay. Now I have to share my screen instead of my window, which means I need a whole different thing. Okay, chat, we're not using. I'm not gonna put you guys through this. I know how to do it. I just don't want to take the time and it be a bigger fumble than it already is. Yeah, I gotta share screen instead of a window, which means I gotta go do a different scene or create one. I don't want to do it. So bust out a whiteboard, bro. So, uh, I guess use your point with God, it always happens. Chat just pressures into into basically doing the effectively just let's see. Let's see. Let's go here. Hang on. Here list. Here list. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So Flesh and Blood. All right. We're not doing a tier list. We're just using it. Is there browser paint? Is that a thing? And I need CC. By the way, whoever actually does these images, thank you. Because I don't ever do these on my own. So whoever does those, you are a legend. I just literally, unfortunately, steal other people's work effectively. I can't even, guys, I'm so discombobulated from the paint thing. We need high C's, last set, easy. Okay, that's how it works. Okay. Too many clicks. I promise, chat, we're gonna get there. I promise. I promise. Okay. Come on now. Uh, Come on now. What is happening? Flesh and Blood High Seas. Oh God, that's all. That's every card. That's not hero. Who does a tier list with every card? Brother. The world just doesn't want me to do it. Gravy Bone ally tier list. Oh, with all the time this is taken. This is just see? I told you weren't getting one. Send help. It's a disaster through and through. Okay. What we're going to do is just talk about it. Okay. So, what's going to happen with Florian? Sorry about all of that. That was an absolute disaster. We went from paint, failed. Now I'm used to having everything like laid out and doing it that way. And boy, did that not work. Okay. So I apologize. And oh my, everything is going awry. I apologize. Okay. Close your eyes and imagine. So, close your eyes and imagine a tier list. There you go. Okay. So, what's happening with Florian right now is you had people literally waiting in the background of literally wanting to they've been like waiting for this moment, right? Because there were a lot of Florian was like the favorite deck after Enigma left, right? Was like the favorite deck. And then suddenly just gone, right? Because due to Gravy, right? And it didn't really go, right? He had to like literally be told to leave, right? Is the the funny part, right? And so it's actually, you know, a lot of people were waiting to play the deck again, right? Because they literally were told that they couldn't do the Gravy. And from that point on, what ultimately happened was it was deemed not viable, and you had an immediate drop off. Obviously, the Verdance episode in the US Nats top 8 didn't help, right? There was that whole locked situation where it was literally impossible for the Florian player to win. And yeah, definitely, or well, technically it's impossible for the Verdance player to win, but somebody's going to take a game action. So um, the rules are the rules, right? And so from that point on, you have like the combination of several people waiting to play a deck that's obviously very popular that they couldn't have played, right? So it's an uptick, right? That's coming, or that's actually here now because Gravy has the image, quote unquote. That I want to kind of like zoom in on that a little bit. The image of not being in, the meta, right? Or not being a top deck that's going to force your deck out, right? That's the important thing. And then from that point on, Florian players are going to think that they can just do whatever they want, right? They're not going to have to pay the price of being the slow dirtly deck, right? But what happens is when that takes place, okay, and usually from what I've observed in these metas, that whole evolution to like realize that this deck is happening takes anywhere. It's different because it depends on how many events and what events they are, right? If you have a major event, it happens immediately. If you have smaller events like a couple battle hardens, it can take 3 or so weeks. And it's basically based on the combination of data and perception, right? High vis event, more impact, or data. And so right now we're in the middle of people coming to the realization that Florian is back, right? But what happens when that transition happens is if you assumed that like Gravy went from a 10 out of 10 to maybe like he's an 8 out of 10 now, right? He's just not like the absolute powerhouse that he was, but he's still a really good deck, right? Well, if Florian takes over the meta and you can still play that matchup pretty well, you just refunded the value on Gravy, right? Because yes, the power level on Gravy went down, 100% accurate, and the power level on Florian went up because of Germinate. But if the presence of Florian adds more validity and more value to Gravy, then so what I'm predicting is going to happen, which is probably off of a lot of people's radar, is Gravy's going to come back, right? Or decks that punish Florian are going to come back. And I know that's like, well, no shit, right? That's just people answering the meta. But I'm trying to break down and kind of give you not a visual because of Paint not working, but I'm trying to give you kind of like an idea of like how and why this happens and when it happens more particularly, because what it does allow you to do is kind of take advantage of a couple spots, right? Like it essentially gives you the opportunity to like, okay, nobody's going to be ready for Florian yet because we're on week 1, but maybe I need to start tailoring to something else on week 2 and week 3, right? And then you have the ability to, do that. So that's just something that I wanted to effectively kind of portray, if you will. So what I think is going to happen is over the next 2 weeks, Florian's going to continue to have very successful weekends. If there are any events, he'll do just fine. And yeah, but then the answer will come, okay? And then there's a part 3 to this. It's very, very important, okay? You mentioned in chat that Acilio and Syndra and things like that. Verdance was really good into Florian. Now it's not so much. I don't think it's bad. I think it's closer to even. But not. I think it's still Verdant's favorite. After there'll probably be some tech involved. In current lit, and that's the part that I also want to kind of. There's multiple flows that are going to happen. So Florian's going to come in. He's going to play the same cards he used to play minus Scepter, right? He's just going to be people are going to think they're super spicy when they throw in Dread Scythe, right? Like, it's basic stuff. But what's going to be different, right, is in comes Acilio, Kano. Some people are saying Syndra. I don't really agree with that one as much. But what's effectively going to happen is Remembrancing Scour. I mean, he's like throwing fellings at you while you're doing that. So I don't know. It's not as easy as you think. Um, so once Acilio, Syndra, and Kano in all of these decks that we think have a good matchup into Florian, there's going to be part 3. Okay, they're going to come in. Florian's win rate's going to go. So Florian went from down here. He's going to go up here due to the Gravy kind of stepping back. Gravy's going to come back a little bit. He's going to go back down a little bit, but not too much. And then really everything's going to move in like Acilio, all those other decks. But then Florian's going to have another opportunity to answer those. We're talking Bells. We're talking the Arcane Compliance cards, all kinds of stuff, right? Going to have a lot more. Too many people automatically assume that when you have a deck and you have counters, they often completely leave out the opportunity of countering the counter. Now, theoretically, this could happen forever, and that is true. But I think at that point, countering the counter is kind of like the last moment where you really get a lot of value before kind of, going off on like a a magical Christmas land, effectively. And so Florian will then have the opportunity to kind of have the Bells for Acilio, the one that says if you play 2 cards of the same name, you have to discard a card or 2. It's really good. I know Acilio players have said that they can, Acilio can deal with those. But you have to also remember that Florian doesn't need to be favored into the matchup, right? To For it to be viable to play Florian, you don't need to be 60% into everything. But if you're like 75% into a lot of stuff, and then you are like 30%, or you were like 20% into Acilio, but now you're like 40, like I would be okay with that, right? Like that's a good enough spread, right? So that is another thing that really has to be kind of emphasized, if you will. So just one thing that I wanted to kind of throw out there. So there will be an evolution with Florian. Florian, unfortunately, is going to be the main character for about the next month or so, until at least we get the new set, which will be, I guess, a little bit less than a month. But that will continue to be. It's going to take a week or two to actually get the new hero. So yeah, a month. It's going to take a week or two to get the new heroes kind of ironed out. They might make a splash on the meta, but like when things are truly ironed out, we saw the same thing in Gravy, right? He showed up in numbers at Nats, but didn't like perform, but like 2-3 weeks later he was clicking, right? People had it figured out, things like that. So I haven't been playing much the meta the past few months. Why hasn't Guardian been good? Is there a reason to believe that this will change with Super? So we don't know. Guardian's kind of been missing this identity for quite some time. And the whole problem, so the key word that really mattered the most in Guardian for the longest time was the word crush, right? Crush says that you have to deal 4 damage for your on hit to go through, and that all of your attacks are like at or below rate. They're never above rate. Well, they become above rate if your crush effects go off, right? And the problem is that every hero now has access to a decent fridge, either based on generics or if you're one of those few decks that doesn't, like using like Enigma as an example, right? You had other ways to avoid that, right? You had ward, you had a shitload of D reacts, you had all of these things. The point that I'm trying to make is Crush was never crushing, right? Like ever, unless the player warranted that it was not that impactful and then they let it hit. And then you didn't get any value anyway, right? Because they deemed it to be not that impactful. So from that point on, effectively what happened is um, you know, Guardian has always kind of been looking for a new identity. And it seems that the place that they have landed on with these two new heroes is having a more set up and go kind of like buff non attack variant in the form of auras, right? So I could never answer your question on like, will it remain viable? Because they're like in the middle of a remodel, right? They're just completely redoing the class and like not getting rid of anything, just how they're treating it kind of going forward. Volta the same thing, right? Really leaning on seismic surge tokens and momentum and things like that. So they're just kind of shifting what the class is going to look like. And all of this stuff just dropped. So I think if anybody told you that they were good or bad or going to be good or going to be bad, they're literally talking out of their ass and they don't have a clue. Because it's just so much information so quickly that it's just impossible to know. And so it's going to take some time, at least several months to really get a strong grasp on whether, because we have to figure out how, because it's being completely just remodeled. We got to figure out the right ratios. We got to figure out, you know, once we get that part down, what the fuck do we do with sideboards when there's so many different parts, right? Do you take out your auras? Do you take out your attacks? Do you cut into your blue base? I mean, there's so many different the paint guys, bro. That was a disaster. Holy shit. Skip the next 5 minutes. I promise. That was a disaster. Oh man. It's so funny. Just knowing that somebody's about to see my mistake. That is too good. But yeah, so that's kind of you know, how it kind of is. So to answer your question, I don't know. I have no idea whether it's going to be good or not. We will find out. So meta is going to change with Florian. Florian's going to be the driver. Assassin is going to have to pivot to Mario, unfortunately, not because Mario is better, but he's going to be better in this meta. Just like Mario was the hotness before Slippy, right? But then the meta just presented it in itself to where you needed routine go again to basically play against Gravy. So Slippy showed up, right? That was the whole idea of why that deck, you know, was second string for months with the same card pool behind Mario, right? The whole idea. When the deck came out, there's nothing innovative about it. Everybody knew what the fuck Slippy was doing. Kiss of Death, Flick It. Everybody knows the shit, right? Like it's not literally you read the card, you know what you're supposed to do. Okay, I need to draw two stealth cards or a stealth card and Codex. Like it's easy shit, right? Um, Pivot to Azuri instead. No, not gonna happen. Okay, so from that point on, I mentioned that Florian's gonna be the driver. You're gonna have a couple decks that try to kind of answer, like Chad is debating or has been debating today. There's going to be a lot of realizations come to on the verdants in Florida because a lot of people are going to try and use verdants as the answer, right, to the Florian problem because it's the most straightforward way to handle it. And you may or may not do well, with that. You're not going to do as well as you think you will, right? Because I think the Florian players are just one step ahead on that matchup evolution. Not saying it's favored. Or at least not to this point. It could end up that way, but we have not seen the Verdance players really have the opportunity to have their adaptation. Like, let's say that like this life gain tech and stuff like that with germinate and stuff like that, like gives you the advantage when they don't have plume and they can't combo up to 150, right? Maybe you can gain enough life to stay out of the threshold, right? Well, what if somebody makes an aggro verdance list with a bunch of burn bears and the leaves card that comes in for 6, and they have ways to get it back and all kinds of different things, right? And they just beat you down effectively. Um, and then still have the combo built in. So if you leak enough damage, they can pump the brakes and then rely on the combo. I'm just saying that the Verdance players will have their moment to adapt. And I think the final result will be that it will be Verdance favored. That is my opinion. Um, I'm not some fucking oracle with a crystal ball. I'm just relying on the fundamental understanding that you have deck that dirtles and you have deck that can set up and really at no opportunity cost. So if the players are smart enough and they can innovate well enough, they will solve the problem. Now, do the new heroes come in and ask a different problem? Maybe. Um, so that's kind of where I'm at. I think Florian's going to be the main driver, but of course, you're going to have some Guardian come in. Brute has the biggest opportunity to kind of upset this meta because you have, if you do have Florian, a historically kind of rough matchup for Florian is Rhinar. And Rhinar also, if Gravy loses a lot of his gas, I'm just saying, maybe, right? It's possible, right? And then Verdance that can't block, Rhinar seems pretty decent, is all I'm saying. So you have a lot of decks that are going to have the opportunity to kind of show you what they can do. And we'll just kind of see what happens from that point. Okay, so any questions about the meta before we move to the Briar deck? Nick is all in on Tough Nut. That is correct. Um, I'll answer some questions as they go, but we're gonna go ahead. Trying to think if there's anything like super relevant as far as the meta, as far as like the aggro dynamic, right? We mentioned that Mario was taking over Slippy, but I think Mario does not become the best aggro deck. I think the deck that takes that spot is kind of your natural Syndra, and then Dio really has a lot to gain. Yeah, well, so Dio is tough, right? Like she's got to figure out the Florian matchup, right? Because you do have the what is the cog in the machine loop at the end where you can like pistol shoot 4 times. The problem is you have to have exactly a blue in those 3 cards in your deck at the end of the game. You have to like maintain your life total high enough. I'm just saying, in a really good pilot like a Sam Sutherland or something like that, it's doable, right? You can figure it out. You can get there, and you can create those game states. For less skilled players, it's going to be a lot more difficult. So I'm gonna say that Dio at the highest level and played extremely, extremely well is a really good pick. If you are not, if you're playing your Florian games and you're only winning 20-30% of them, you should not bring that deck. If you're not comfortable with that matchup, leave that shit at home because you are going to get destroyed. So expect bad conversion rates for the next month or so. But I would not give up on Dio. She's here to stay. That's my opinion on that here. So let's go ahead and just pop up the good old Briar deck. Called the good old deck. And of course, just like anything, the deck list is going to be posted in the Discord. for anybody that is interested. I don't think I have any matchups built yet. I think I just took somebody else's as like a starter, and maybe I'm gonna delete these matchups before we go because they're not my matchups. Because I completely changed the deck, so they're not in the same cards. So here is the Briar LL deck. Okay. And obviously, chat's already kind of like you know, kind of spotlighted the spice, if you will. And I'm gonna break down everything about this deck. Okay, I'm gonna tell you why I chose this card, why I didn't choose this card. I'm gonna go through all of it. Okay. Uh First, I mean, there's so much that I think is gonna surprise a lot of people. Obviously, we have the spell blade. But why is vexing the default? Well, the answer is Grasp of the Arknight is not in the fucking deck. Which I think is going to um surprise a lot of people. To say the least. And I have reasoning for all of this. So let's kind of go. The first thing I want to start with, for those of you who don't know, I've been playing Briar for basically since the day she came out, and I played her for basically her whole existence. And effectively, what I've noticed, so when Briar holistically existed at the end, or kind of like she was pretty much solved for the most part for like the better part of a year, right? Everybody had anywhere between 18 to 22 blue cards. Okay, and they were the same blue cards: Earthlore Surge, there were Tome of Harvest, you had Force of Nature, you had Anthem of Spring. This card didn't exist yet, neither did this one. So your blues kind of changed here or there, but like it was the same shit. And it was 18 usually to 22 blue cards. I cut all the way down to 15. Now, you might be asking yourself, why the fuck would you do that, Nathan? And the answer to that question is in the game in an LL game. Okay, there's so much momentum, and like you take a Briar turn, right? And you don't draw a blue. Who gives a fuck? Everything just about costs 0, right? Except for Belittle and Blossoming. Everything else, fucking 0. Literally. Except for this card, but it is basically 0 because it just replaces itself. So if you don't draw a blue, what is the opportunity cost paid? And the answer is nothing, really. You lose 1 damage anytime you swing Rosetta Thorn because hypothetically you could have made a rune chant with Grasp of the Arknight if you're running that card. My deck does not. Not to say I haven't thought very adamantly about adding it, and there may be a matchup where I just strictly need the armor value and it actually comes in the deck. That is entirely possible. However, I reduced down to 15 blues because I knew that the opportunity cost of drawing all reds was so small, especially with Belittle, and the opportunity cost of drawing all blues was almost catastrophic. And we saw that happen in the Naib finals of the Battle Hardened with there was a Briar player that played Naib and ended up losing because they literally drew like 12 blue cards in 5 turns, right? You cannot be swinging Autumn's Touch in LL. You can't do it. That's why it's not in the fucking deck. So having that there just does not fucking matter. Okay. So I heavily reduced the blue count, and I do have blues in the sideboard for ice matchups to bring it up to that steady 20 to kind of counteract that game plan because you don't want to expose yourself to the elements, if you will. That was a pretty good one. That was a solid 8 out of 10 right there. What are some other choices? Okay, I guess we've been talking about Grasp enough. Why does Grasp not make the cut? And the answer to that question is this card is in the list as the main arm piece because of this card. The whole premise of the deck is, or the premise is just to play fucking Briar and play value turns with spots of aggression and then spots of highly extracted value on defense via embodiment. That is like the main strategy. But what I wanted to do, what I found myself in the same situation over and over and over again. I could not find a routine way to really just steal the match against the aggressive decks like Chain, or Chain and the ninjas and stuff like that. I couldn't find a way to like I would put in more burn ups and it would be like, okay, maybe it did a little extra damage, but it didn't get me there, right? But what I found was if I could play this card, and for those of you who don't know, it's very confusing text, but basically what happens is when you play this card, it pings for 1 arcane, okay? Just like a Bramble Spark, if you will. And if that arcane hits, you search your graveyard for a non-attack action and you can play it as an instant. So, effectively, what you could do is you could ping them with the arcane. If they don't give you a card, you see where I'm getting at? You get a free card. So either way, you're getting a card, right? Because LL, their tunic's not going to be on 1, right? Because the games are going to be a little bit quicker. And if they're giving you your tunic counter, we take that as well, because then that just means their chess piece was dog shit, right? If they get 1 tunic counter a game and they gave it to you on this. But if they don't, or they can't because we also want to put people in the situation to where we can punish if they don't present AB, right? Because if they present Arcane Barrier, then we gain value, right? Because there could have been armor there, right? I'll give you an example. If Guardian runs no rune glove or no rune boots, that could have been a boot slot with like 3 armor block, right? Or quick dodge flexors or whatever the case may be, right? And the idea is that, okay, at the beginning of the match, one of 2 things is going to happen. Either you're going to start me 3 life ahead by not bringing your armor boots, or you're going to play AB. I'm sorry. So either you're going to play AB and put me up 3 points, or you're going to play the armor and not let me start ahead, but give me a free card later. Okay. So, and not only that, it's a card and an action point. It's a very important aspect to remember. Now, I know, and also if the 6 damage on it hits, you get another card. So you can like pump this in different ways. I don't actually think there's that many ways to actually pump in this deck particularly, because none of the nimbleism and stuff like that are not going to apply. But that's not the point of the card. We're not trying. You do have Channel Mount Heroic, obviously, that would apply to it. But the idea is you want to Vexing Quill Hand, and then you want to pop your chess piece because you will have 2 rune chance. And holy shit, your 1 card that is not 0 cost, guess what? It is now 0 cost. And that makes this Earth and Lightning fusion exceptionally easy. Normally, it would be a very tall ask to ask a player to draw the exact hand structure of Blossoming Spellblade, a blue card, and then a lightning and an earth. That's difficult, right? That's not easy. But if you remove one of those, and then I could have this in Arsenal, then literally all I have to do is draw an earth and a lightning card. That's literally all I have to do. And your boy's good at math. So, of course, we have the perfect fucking split between lightning and earth cards at 16 and 16. We have a great ratio at 27 attacks and 33 non-attacks. the reason that we favor the non-attacks is we have so many cards, aka Sonata and Serenade, that allow us to fetch attack action cards if we don't draw one. So we have plenty of ways to acquire those. So the vexing and then also there's these situations where you get a belittle but you don't have a blue, and there are situations where you can emergency vexing pop Skeleton, play the belittle for free, go get your blue, or just turn it into a red minnowism, right? Which means now instead of having to pitch for this card, you made this effectively a 1 card 6 with half an embodiment, right? Which we kind of take those. And then the reason that there's the 1 burn up shock and the 2 arcane seeds is 1 for ratio purposes, and then 2, these are also the best cards to grab with Spellblade. Plain and simple, like that is the best targets. Or Nimblism's a great target as well. So is Minnowism, depending on if you have another card to follow. Also, a card that's not in a lot of Briar list is Second Strike. I think that this particular card position competes with. I've seen a lot of people run the Jack Be Nimble, Jack Be Quick, whichever one. And while ultimately maybe that's the better card, in my opinion, I don't believe it is. I think Second Strike is actually a better card, especially because you can lead with damage that's very non-face up, like Sonata and Arcane Seeds and things like that. One thing that I also want to mention is that if you do the Vexing Quillhand Skeleton and then you go into the attack, I want to also kind of mention that this says the next attack action card and non-attack action card you play cost less, which means in 1 blue card, my Channel Mount Heroic will now cost 1. Okay. Which means I can also swing Rosetta Thorn that same turn that I play it on the same blue. So I can literally play CMA or play Blossoming and then like maybe there's a CMH literally in maybe there's a CMH in the graveyard. You can, at instant speed in reactions, I'm telling you, I'm giving all the secrets. If they let the arcane hit, you go grab CMH. Guess what? You have not played a non-attack action this turn. Your Skeleton proc or effect is still active. It says the next attack and next non-attack action card you play. You now creepers in your Channel Mount Heroic in reactions, which is going to be face up because you have to select the Spellblade target. But still. And then you save your creepers, you still have your action point, and you still get to swing Rosetta Thorn all in the same card. It won't be cheaper, Nathan. You have no rune chance. So that's not true because you pop Vexing, you pop Skeleton. Okay, this remembers that state. Right? It says the next attack action. Yeah, it remembers the state. This card costs 1 less to play for each rune chant you control. Oh, you have to control it at the point in which you play it. You're right. That doesn't work. I'm used to the Viscerai combo where you play the non-attack. It doesn't discharge your rune chant. My bad. What I meant to say is you're going to target Arcane Seeds, get your 2 rune chants, and then you're going to play Sonata and get a free card. The Sonata from hand, you know? Yeah? Is that hot? Is that good? Because then you'll have 2 rune chants. You'll have 2 rune chants, and then that'll be your non-attack version. Did I fix it? It's not as hot as a discounted CMH. On the reverse, okay, so I guess you can't target the CMH with the Spellblade, but you can do the reverse order. You can play the CMH at a discount, right? You can pop Quill Hand, you can pop Skeleton, you can play CMH for 1 resource, have 2 floating, and then play Spellblade for free because your rune chants had not discharged. So you can do, yeah, you can do it. You only get both effects if you play the non-attack first. That's kind of the rule. So that's kind of. Thank you for correcting me on that. I do appreciate it. So yeah, there's so many different ways, and yeah, you can also do it in the layer step. Oh, that's a good point. So on the trigger, I guess you could do Spellblade first. It pings for 1. The rune chants are on the stack. Any rune chant on the stack you control, which fulfills this requirement. So you can do it. Right? So it would work. You just can't wait until reactions. You have to do it right then and there. Use the Spellblade resolves, it pings the CMH, the stack moves down to the rune chant. You hold priority on the rune chant, and then you play the CMH. So it works. You just have to do it right then and there. Am I right, Chet? I'm like 90% sure I'm cooking here. You think Spellblade shoots after the rune chant? Does it say when this card attacks? Fuck, you're right. You're right. You're right. Fuck it. We'll go back to getting Sonata. Okay, I tried. Okay. Anyway, the card's fucking good. Okay. To be honest, I have thought about, and there's a lot of other plays that I've made with the Vexing and Skeleton combo. I've done things along the line of there'll be a situation where I'll draw a card combination like Sonata and Second Strike. And what I'll do is I will basically pop the Quill Hand and then pop the Skeleton, get the free card on Sonata, so reveal 4 cards. And then if I need a reason or, I'm really incentivized to make sure that I get go again on the Second Strike, it's a couple avenues you have. You don't have any other non-attacks and you're kind of full up on attacks. There's a lot of convenient plays that you can make by doing that. So yeah, there is no arcane ping in the layer step from Blossom. Yep, you're right. It's the attack step. That's my fault. Where your fulminates at? Stop. I actually built a combo. Almost played it at Worlds. It was a combo fulminate deck that ran cash out, and then I knick-knack bric-a-bracked all of my equipment away because I made sure it was battle worn. And then I had a couple amulets, and I would just fulminate, and then every card in the deck would be either a blue to pop the silver to draw another card or an attack. And I would just go boom, 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 boom. It worked. It just was not fast enough against Fi in the meta. Really cool deck, by the way. We might review that one for fun one day. But it was pretty cool. It was one of the OGs. So we talked about the ratio. We talked about why Second Strike. We talked about the spicier card, and So, like I said, I haven't spent too much on the sideboard, right? I know there's going to be some CYB, so we got some poisons in there. We got this round's on me to give a little, take the edge off a little bit on the ninja matchups, and then I just also needed extra blues for ice, so it kind of filled multiple roles. I like the idea of lightning press, although I'm not entirely sure that it's necessary. So these are the two cards on the chopping block. I think what I'm actually going to do is change Exude Confidence into DM Armada spoiler card, the one that on when you attack with it, you can pay one and remove auras to get a little bit more edge into chain. Because I think if you can slow down his shackles every now and again, um, I think you can get enough leg room and enough spec. Because when he gets to 3 shackles, he's going right. But if you can slow him a little bit down on the way, just 1 or 2 of them, I think it helps the matchup a lot. And it's a 0 for 4 3 block. Like there's no opportunity cost there. So I'm probably taking out Exude Confidence if I'm being honest, and then putting in that card. And I'm not sure what Lightning Press would be because I kind of look at these two as like, you know, 2 peas in a pod kind of situation. So, um, also, Second Strike is a 0 for 4 that fulfills the belittle requirement, is another reason why I'm running that card. Belittle is just too good of a card, so that's why we're running it. It's pretty self-explanatory. Everybody's on the Serenade deck. It's nothing new. And then we have the AB and draw lots of cards. So yeah, that's kind of the idea on the deck. And I guess what we'll do is we got a little bit of time. We can go ahead and take it for a spin. Why not? Got Town Shore open already. Let's go ahead and make it competitive LL. Why not? Probably get stream sniped. Why not? But we'll do it. Like I said, these are not my matchups. I just like found a list of shortcut because I knew it was going to be like 40 of the same cards. Um, But yeah, this is kind of the idea. I have thought about trimming the Spellblade down to 2 copies. That is an idea that I've had, and I've taken it quite seriously. And may actually end up doing it because the first one is bananas, right? The second one, not so much. So it really just depends. And then also, what I'll do. Oh, new? Really? That's what we're going to be doing? Okay. Uh, So in this situation, also, in my opinion, like D reacts in Briar is like giga bait, like gigabait. Okay. Um. So I think in this matchup, we definitely want to go second. We don't want to let them. There's CYB though, so I'm actually going to go first to kind of stop that from happening. Because we can punish if they decide to actually play something. We are going to throw that in for that situation. Um, as far as equipment, I don't think we need Exude. Knives Out, Nate. Oh, Lord. Good, 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 good. Yeah, we're good with the Purgatory for the bonds, if that happens. The question is, do we add the extra? Like, do we think it's actually going to get to that point? And it's kind of tough, right? Because if they have the right stretch, maybe it does. I think the deck has to hum though, so I'm going to play without and just run it. Is what we're gonna do. Okay. So what we're gonna do in this situation is we drew 3 attacks, which means we have to save one. This is the highest level one. So I guess first what we're gonna do is we're just gonna pass and let them do their thing. And if they CYB, then okay, we're good. Okay. In this situation, more than happy to just give it up. It's not that big of a deal. And I'm definitely okay being marked here. Okay, just a Nick. I'd banish a card from hand. Would not be the end of the world. Not for real. Um, Nimby's not doing a whole lot here in this situation. Can't really pay for. Hmm. See why Bay makes this card a lot worse because they're more than willing to give it up. Mm-hmm. Mr. Band. Yeah, I didn't spend too much time on the band, but you know. All right, so we're gonna take 3. We're gonna lose 2 cards. One on the top of the deck, one in the hand. That's fine. That's a-okay. We're gonna lose a card. That's the one we want. Nimby's not doing absolutely anything because we're gonna draw that and then not be able to do anything actually with it. So we are gonna get rid of Nimby. Then at least the ball lightning will apply to the Skizzik. So a very underrate turn, but that's okay. I'm not ready to. Have you looked at Succumb with Blossom? Succumb? You dealt arcane damage. Yeah, but they're already incentivized to block it, right? I don't want to add. I don't want to add 14 on hit effects to the same attack, right? That's just kind of the way I look at it. Yep. Show thing. I just remembered how much I absolutely hate that card. Oh, this is too good. Um, so the reason I show here is it actually makes. So this is kind of sus because it actually makes sense to take the poison, right? Because you can make it block and you still get the on hit. There's no way that they would know about the CMH. That's kind of why I pass. I mean, why I'm kind of okay with it. I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. There's no way you take the anthem. You take the poison, you get the on hit, or you get a like. Why not make me block for 0? Huh? I guess just reducing the opportunity, like because I did have like a good CMH hand. Maybe that's. Hmm. One thing I'm going to keep in mind is this is one less value because I am missing. Locking with a hiss is good information. It's actually really good. So I could have obviously creepers here. So or not creepers. I'm sorry, grasped. So that's one less value. It's important to note. See if that one value actually matters. Okay. Just a codex and got rid of the hiss, which means double codex. Like 90% sure. So if we have double codex, what is the target of selection? It would be mark. Or no, it's probably going to be whatever's played. Give and go again. So didn't block with stilettos. So we're not using that for go again. What does this hand mean? Block hiss, pitch codex. It almost guarantees you have a codex. So leave no witness. Prevented the embodiment. This is interesting. Not sure how to read this one. It's been a minute, okay? So just mark from hand. Tunic counter. Could have played the didn't have the blue. Okay. Is that the missing piece? So this basically just means it's just a nick. Okay. So we don't have access to purgatory. There's no way we can stop it. We can't give up that much value. Shred, we get blown out by this block. It's not Siren's Call. Hmm. Yeah, Chi. And then Mask. She's actually the most likely because we've already seen one Justin. Yeah, it's got to be a Mask activation. We're going to play to a Mask activation. That does make the most sense. And this, and we, yeah. It is what it is. We were losing a card no matter what, right? But that's okay. As far as what card do we want to banish? It's actually kind of interesting. We're obviously going to go get Skizik. We're going to play CMH. The question is, do we want to swing Rosetta Thorn? Do we want to try to invest in another one that seems kind of bait? So I think we're just going to try to go all in on this one. And now we have the option we have a couple options. We can Vexing Skeleton to discount this to fit in a Rosetta swing, but I don't know about that either. I don't like that. So we could arsenal the force of nature and just say, look, if you don't have it, like, no, we can't arsenal against. And if they codex, they're just asking for it, right? Yeah, we don't arsenal here. No shot. No shot. So we just go here. Here, it's already going to have go again. So we go buff and Skizik. Easy, easy. How much block do we have here? is we've seen sync. I mean, if we were gonna play this, we would have played it while we had the Earth card in our hand and gotten +1. But the question is that before 7, 8, 9 is getting 3 cards from hand worth. That's a lot of tempo. I think that's ultimately the better. I think that's a better play, but I don't want to walk it back. I think if I go back, I think I would have played the Force of Nature to force the cards because they're not going to want me to draw. With them having a D react, maybe I made the correct choice. But like I said, this would be +1. This would be 1 higher, which makes it really, really awkward. I think we get a whole nother card, which is really, really important. So this is value number 2 that we lost from Grasp. So we got a lot of catching up to do. And once again, this is probably a matchup where the Grasp just does more work, right? With the armor block, all of those things. So like this matchup alone could be a reason to bring it back in. Entirely possible. Because I'm already taking out the lightning presses. So yeah, for sure. Okay. Bonds. That arsenal has not budged. I mean, at all. So that means we have tunic counter. We can activate here. We can activate here. We have to have a reaction. Or am I missing something? Chi, not a reaction. Pitch for mask, reaction. Tunic counter, stilettos, go again. Which means you have to have a reaction turned on. This is tough. Oh, you're right. God, you're right. Oh, stilettos is 2. You're so right. It's been a while since I played this against this hero. So 2. So we just block 4. We literally just block, and we get giga blown out by Purgatory. We don't have an embodiment. What does that matter? And we get mass. We can go Sonata, but then we won't have go again. So that's dead. We're gonna get masked 1 card away anyway. Grasp is looking pretty good. I mean, if that's a chi, like my Purgatory gets blown. But I guess we draw a card to replace it anyway. And we have the blue that we can dip into Arcane. We're just going all in on the yeah. Fuck it, we'll do that. It's chi. We're running into it. I know, but yeah. Yeah. That worked. Bonds, PTSD. That's all right. That's all right. I guess we lose the advantage of forcing the stilettos. That's the part I don't like. Oh wow. Oh wow. Return attack action card. Oh, he doesn't have a so he gets bonds back? Really? Okay, well played. They could have, but they didn't. I mean, they're still going to, but there's no way I'm paying for it. I have the arcane barrier, but there's no way. Take it back. I gotta use it or lose it. That's actually hilarious. Wait, I thought he didn't have an action point. Okay, this is disaster. This is disaster. Oh god, he has an arsenal. Oh god, oh god, oh god, he has force of nature. This is actually entertaining for me. I'm gonna lose this game, but like, okay, 2 draw a card. Okay, you can still let us this, but I would be like, I'd be happy with it. So I'm gonna let you get that one. That's actually hilarious. That is like, bro, you go. There's no actual way this is happening. There's not. This is actually good. Good line. Good line. Oh man, this is good. Yep. Why not? Okay. True card off force of nature. Gaming, bro. Oh god, he has it again. He banished another one. Oh no. And he has an action point, bro. There's no way this is happening. There's no way. Ah, that's but I've already been dealt arcane damage, so I can't even stop this. Bro, is he gonna loop my shit, bro? Oh. Yeah, not ABM was probably troll. You're probably right, but I'm actually glad I didn't, so we could see this. Um. Oh my god, this is actually hilarious. Sure, the damage is done, and now he has a mark of the Black Widow or something, bro. I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna actually lose it, bro. God damn it. There's no way, bro. Oh, this is too good. Oh man. What did he get? Card chosen levels. Oh, because it draws a card. Of course. Because it's gonna be +2. Oh, this is bro, this is all right. This is bad. This is like really bad. Okay, I'm gonna give this one to him. A being was troll. Or not A being. That was really well done. Uh I would actually love a rematch. That was actually that was actually good. I did earn that one. That one was my fault. I'll take responsibility for it. So what I want to do here. We're off to a great start, chat. We're making it happen. We're missing on Sonatas. We're not really doing a good job of showcasing what this deck can do. But not a being there, like I should have saw that. I've just never been exposed to that situation. But now we knew. Okay. Got rid of Adjust Nick on the AB. Okay. Doesn't really mean anything, but took damage. Okay. Thanks, Jacob, for joining. I appreciate it. Swinging the Beckoning instead of the other one. And then blocked, pitched just a Nick, which means we got levels coming. I'm thinking levels inbound, right? He's not full of blues, or he would keep the surgical. I think levels is coming, which means this is a tempting block. We usually don't keep hands good enough, so I'm going to give creepers early. And we're going to get sirens called, of course. Yeah. That was such a bad play. I should have just blocked with the blue. There's no reason to keep it. Thanks, Andy, for joining. Appreciate it. We were right about the levels. Got that part right. Just 5. Okay, we can handle that. I think I'm going to take just an aggressive stance on this one. Not sure if it's right. We're going to do it. That way he can just regrowth me. Because I have no AB now. That was actually great to watch. Are choosing the AB. That is A-okay. And the D react. Sure. Guess I'll just take an arsenal. I'm happy either way. Just a codex. Direct from Arsenal. Give me embodiment. Kept me off an embodiment the whole game last game. This is what he's doing here, of course. Okay. No belittle target, but we can maybe get one. Diplomacy. What an amazing card. So if diplomacy is what's happening, we are going to. We just rip this shock, right, to get 1 damage in? Am I crazy? And then we go pitch 1 card into belittle into second strike. Salvage a little bit of value, not a ton. Played 1 Skizzik, so we have an extra 1 of those. We pitch this because if he takes the 3 here, which is possible, this will now have go again, and then we can swing Thorn afterwards for the extra juicy 2 damage. Keeping the whole hand, just taking it. Not exactly what we want to see, but I mean, okay, crack back on the diplomacy turn. But this is gonna hurt whatever this is. We will see. Okay. Kinda shitty hand. Getting rid of creepers was a mistake. Makes Nimby's a lot worse. Go here, but we can play it there and then play it into the snatch. I wanted to play it on the turn because he was defenses down. He had nothing to pitch, nothing up. Um, that was the idea of getting the damage in while it was guaranteed effectively. That was the thought process. Okay, we got prognosis, which is kind of fucked because we're gonna get some type of go again here. Don't know how or what is going to happen in regards to it, but I think this is about as good of as good of a purgatory as we can possibly get, probably. So I'm just gonna block the Nimby and the Serenade, and then also throw that in to also cover Justin Nick, because this has to get a card in this situation. There's no way we get like a double transcend or anything like that. This will get a card. I don't know what it's gonna get, but it'll get something. Yeah. Still good. Gonna get go again, sure. And mantle for 7. Go to bonds. Okay, you take a card, sure. I'm gonna take my snatch. Probably, maybe. Unsure. Yep, I'm good with that. Here, you just take the snatch because if I don't have an attack in arsenal, you just like giga brick me. So that's I think is the correct choice. And what we're gonna do is just pay into this. Okay, we get 1, which in this situation it would 100% be the ball lightning. We have a choice to just dump the minnow. Um, actually, is it the ball lightning? Actually, it's not. We go here to, and we actually take the NIMBY because we get refunded on it. Because we'll get the go again from the minnowism because we'll make the embodiment. We'll still have the one floating for the swords. We get the NIMBY every time here. So glad Bonds is banned. Yep, 100%. Then we get just dump, and then we get to Arsenal for effectively free. Is the idea. And we get to push 6 damage for an embodiment, which means he has to give up a decent amount of tempo, or I get the embodiment. I'm happy with either. Maybe blocking these claves with armor is actually ideal because if he's swinging clave, we know he's not seeking value on the blues. He's actually needing the mark. And we don't have to worry about flick knives. So maybe I need to actually respect Clave here. Or just get marked by D-Reacts anyway. That's cool too. That makes perfect sense. Okay. No way to play it. We'll just block with it. Hmm. I guess it's just a matter of which card. I think we just go here and here, and then we go 6. Try to keep as much tempo as we possibly can. Wait for a bigger opening. Main thing is the embodiment management. We got to make sure that we can like put on a decent amount of pressure, get an embodiment if they want to make a crackback. That's the number one. Okay. We could do a big like we could do an anthem block. Get the unity embodiment. The problem is we get blown out by the wide situation. I guess it's the same either way. This would come in for 3, then 4, then this one would be 5, so it's 9. Is there a difference between 9 and 8? You could go just a nick is 5 more plus 3 more is 9. So that is actually the play. We just remove the ability to, and then now we just have the ability to like giga block if we want. So if he does go around, this is actually the right way because now we have the double embodiment, so we can literally do a 5 card block or 5 block 1 card if we want. We could not let them hit the hand because then they just take 2 cards anyway by naming Channel Out Hook. But Bonds is it's a bitch. I'm not gonna lie. I think Poison the Well is not the move. Of course, it's going to take like a good idea on the analysis of the current meta and whether they're running that package or not. Um, and I'm glad that I chose not to add the lightning presses and the exude. So you're getting rid of a card. You're getting rid of a card. I would like to hang on to the heroic. Actually, that's probably a mistake because then he can play the force. I don't know. Oh, mantle. Okay. Can't play around that. Okay, there goes all the CMHs. Yep. Good old free card. Free tempo. probably has a dead card anyway. All I'm looking for in this play is the information of which card. Okay, so we have a blue 0 cost attack. That's the important part that doesn't require mark. So if he swings Hunterclave, then we know like something is fucking up. Either take up the mantle or okay. So we need to probably respect this blade. Um, and actually, the question now becomes: do we want to play around Siren's Call, or do we not? We know we're going to block it, but if he plays Siren's Call, we block it for free. Or do we want to leverage our armor to block it? That's the ultimate question. Um, and because the hand does not block very well, I think I'm going to take the chance on no Siren's Call. But we know he needs this. And we're just banking that he doesn't have Siren's Call is literally what we're doing. And we were correct. Which we will take. You got CNC or something to go after? Okay. That's fine. I probably wasn't blocking it anyway. So in this situation, we have all the go again we could ever want. We're just gonna let the nimblism go and say you got it. Okay, now we get to go. It's kind of awkward because we can't break chain. It says chain, not turn. So there's no way that we can structure. It basically just doesn't matter. Is the point? Because either we're playing the ball lightning late, losing a value, which is a maybe value. This is a guaranteed value, so we actually do it this way. Although we would like to play it the other way, there's no way to actually structure it without wasting the embodiment. Got a card on the arcane. That's good. And the one thing I actually like about this play is if he starts giving up cards too freely, like he's kind of doing, would kind of indicate that maybe he's on like a brickier turn. We could just arsenal the ball lightning. That is a line that we have open to us, but we don't have an embodiment yet, so I'm going to keep pushing. Okay, so we got him down to literally just a 2-card hand, probably a codex, whatever the case, which is fine. Probably has a codex and keep saying I want to respect this. I keep saying. So he kept this card instead of blocking 2 damage. That's the math. Which means the mark and a damage is worth more than 2. Okay, which means he's leaning on this turn. Which means if that's a codex, then he effectively would go and grab not a blue widow. Like that doesn't make sense. Mantle doesn't make sense because he doesn't have the attack action to do it. So that doesn't make any sense. It could be if it was levels, it would be the other one. I have no fucking clue what this is. It's not mantle. Is it Siren's Call? I would actually be okay with the Siren's Call. Block. I mean, we're having to block anyway, so fuck it. It's one card. How scary can it be? One last check on Codex. It would literally just be a mark of the Black Widow, which is a one with no floating. Yeah, okay, you got it. Yeah, it messes up my blossoming turn, but like that's fine. We still have a play. We can. Come on now. Don't stop now, Talishar. So here they have a couple choices. They can either take the mark. Um, I mean, I'm fine with literally any answer. But he does carry the mark over him. Actually, he doesn't. Yeah, he does. So it's poison well, get the mark, or it's regrowth and stop me from go again, then into 6. But then I just arsenal anyway. It's literally not that huge. Where did this card come from? Dead ass. Oh yeah, he had one in the hand, one in arsenal. Okay. Unless it's a hero banish, whatever. This banishes a card. 26, no CMHs. We do have Rosetta Thorn to help close it out, but it is looking a little scuffed. So it's nice to know that the game can go long if they don't regrowth loop you. God, that is a disaster. So maybe in this matchup, I would replace the spell blades with the 0 for 4 from the new set that's coming out. I would replace Vexing for Grasp. I would also probably swap Regrowth Shock for, you know, this round's on me or whatever, to kind of not give them as much play on the hero ability. Here we're just throwing 6, trying to maintain that embodiment and pressure to go back and forth with. We still have a little bit of life to play with, not a ton. And we've gone through a lot of the threats. 2 bonds gone. 2 mantles. One mantle got pitched. It's pretty far down. Okay, looks like we are going to get an embodiment unless they have another. Got the embodiment. Mission accomplished. And speaking of bonds, okay, this is kind of getting old. I'm not gonna lie. Um, how many just the Knicks we got? 1. Okay, so we're fucked. No way to cut it. Um, I mean, Justin it goes up to 9 anyways. We're literally just dead there. They take tempo. That's fine. They gave us an embodiment, which means it had to be good. They mask. Fucked. Um, I only give one card here, and I think it's just for the value. It's not even basically just banking on them masking and stilettos to go wide into a codex is basically what I'm banking on. No, they had the Justin. Okay. Which even if I gave the second card wouldn't have mattered. But now we have two cards to play with, so there's no one card that we at least have a turn. Doesn't matter really what it is. Um, sure. Okay, at 21 cards in deck, it starts to actually raise the question of should we send the three or actually or just Rosetta for two. And it's an honest question, right? Like there is a debate to be had. Although at 11 life, I think we just have to pressure as much as we can to get a grasp back on. Although three bonds gone. Of course, there's one mantle left. Keeping the Skizzic for the third serenade seems good. One serenade, two serenade. There are no serenades, so we just throw it. There's no benefit to keeping it in the deck and pitching it to Rosetta Thorn other than just keeping a card. But I don't think that's doing a whole lot here. So we're just gonna either get a card or walking with a hiss. It's a lot of information. No arsenal. Important. And now we're going to swarming. Okay. Okay. Do I give up this card and the top card for Everbloom Life? That seems kind of scuffed. Although this is a natural Rosetta Thorn swing, and we get another card for recursion. We can even set up an embodiment for the next turn if we really want to. So we can Everbloom Life, pitch Poison Well, swing Belittle, Everbloom Life, hold the embodiment, swing Thorn. That is a line we have access to. Good damage. Puts two cards back on the bottom of the deck. We're actually giving up swarming here. It's two cards for two cards, net neutral. Burn up shock wasn't a good card in the first place. Not in this situation. So to hide as much information as possible, what we're gonna do is play Belittle. So many priority windows. Holy shit. Okay. Um Forgot I had to close damn combat chain. So annoying. Mm, 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 mm. Okay, what card is the most important here? Um I think we just need go again and non-attacks. Go again and non-attacks. Go again, non-attacks. So we just need something that is consistently go again, which obviously would be ball lightning. Um Then we'll also do the same thing. And here we have a choice of belittle if we want. Um, because we've gained 2 life. Not that it actually matters. We should have more blossomings. We should have blossoming in the next hand, and we have the embodiment kind of set up, which would be good. I guess it's really the same, so we'll just go ball lightning. Why not? Send 4 damage. Gives me an idea on the hand strength if there's any blocks or pitches for arcane. Or in a good spot if he pitches for arcane. That'd be primo. But no blocks on anything. That was the worst thing that could have happened. But that's okay. We're set up. We just need minimal hand disruption. Is what we need. We have a guaranteed Rosetta swing. Um, okay, that's good. That's really good. It's happening. So pump pump. Um, okay. What are you pumping is the question. Those aren't in your hand. You can't fuse the force of nature. So it's just +2 if it's less than 3. Um, I mean, ultimately, we just avoid bonds here. We're fine, right? We are marked, so he can like throw Mark of the Black Widow or something. But at that point, I'd probably just eat it. Oh wait, no, I have an embodiment. I need to go here because of the embodiment, and like that's fine. I guess I do I do it that way because I lose the effect of ball lightning? I'm not sure. Maybe I kind of maybe I was an undoer there. I don't know. Um, Now we have a good spot on the tempo. The question is, do we have enough actual fucking density left in the deck? And we do have double ball lightning at the bottom. This is great. We have any minnows? I think he banished all of them with bonds. He did. Okay, so this has no effect. Which means we can definitely arsenal this. Grasp would have been really good there. I could have just made the rune chant. Yeah, grasp is way better in this matchup. Know that now. And we can arsenal this. It's kind of worrisome putting it in arsenal, but we know we basically have to use it for the cleanup turn. We know we have a decent amount of tempo. We just got to stop a really good like codex play, and then we got the ball lightnings coming up to fuse this for another round of go again. I think we actually get fatigued here, probably. If we let this hit, they banish a card of the same color. It's going to be blue. They hit one of them, doesn't matter, or they just gain the life. And if they have one more Justinik, which I think they do, Justinik 1, 2. So there's one out there. So if they have Justinik, I think they just win because then they get 2 cards. 3 cards. They get them a block card, a card from hand that matches the color. I think it's just something we have to do, though. I think if they have Justinik, they just win. I don't know what else. Grass would have made a hell of a difference here. We have the fuse. We have the go again. We can go here. I think that's just the answer, right? And if it's just Nick, they win. Still gain a life. It's unfortunate, but we go here. The reason I'm doing it in this order is I want to give the illusion that we don't have a non-attack. We're not playing. We're just trying to get as many 2-2 swings as possible. That's all we're trying to do. We're just trying to one non-attack, one attack, send. But I don't think we actually get there, which is interesting because we saw the game kind of go both ways. I'm really glad I played these 2 games. I learned a ton. One, I learned that stilettos is 2 reactions. Had to relearn that one. Been a minute. If he doesn't disrupt. So there was no Justinik last time. Oh man, this hand came one turn too late because I have the game if I can keep 3 cards because I can go ball lightning and it amps the damage on the spell uh on the blossoming, which basically would mean that it's going to hit unless he wants to pop the spell void. Then that's fine. Then I can just probably close it out with arcane. But now he's going to be able to come over or even mask either one. Both are bad. And get 2 cards. And that doesn't really let me accomplish what I'm trying to do. I guess if he doesn't have a Chi or just a Nick, I guess. But either way, it's scuffed. Yeah, it's about what we. And now we get fatigued. 100%. Make him have it. I would have loved to. But I knew he had it. He literally took damage to make the play while he was at fucking 4. So like he had something of it. And he has the D-react to cover it up. Okay. So we are fatigued officially. Probably take the arcane and then hell, he could take all of it and then just apply enough pressure to strip the hand if he has any disruption. Or he can keep his life total high. I did my fair share. Pass. Sure. Yeah, I think he's got it. Bonds. He takes a card. We have no way to turn on Rosetta. The bottom card is. Yeah, I think he has it. You got it. GG's though. Very well played on there, especially that fucking the regrowth loop. So I was completely sideboarded wrong, and I mentioned that right before the games. Basically, what I would do. Let me pull back up the list. What I would do going forward. Where the hell is it? Okay. What I would do going forward, like I said, these are already going to be swapped out for the 0 for 4 3 block. DM Armada's spoiler for Super Slam, the one that allows you to get rid of auras. That would be in the Exude spot. And I would take out 1 press for Grasp. Obviously, it's much needed in that matchup specifically. Uh, and then that kind of gives you 2 slots to kind of just do whatever you really want with it. It could be, I mean, really anything. I wonder even if like going the overcrowded route might be no, I can't. There's way too much opportunity cost built into blues. Um, and then also from a play perspective, I think that the downside to playing against that specific deck is the Hunter's Clay value is very face up. And I think I realized it too late. And I didn't realize it at all the first game. And then like halfway into the second game is kind of when I realized that it really just, I think that I think it's really telegraphed and the mark of the Black Widows are not that effective if you just give up your armor. The problem that made it difficult for me was I ran the vexing. That made it a problem. Uh and then take the spell blade out in that matchup, put in the 0 for 4 that gets rid of the aura. Not to get rid of the aura, you just want more 0 for 4s. You don't want clunky hands, stuff like that. And if you don't have vexing, it makes that card really awkward. Also, like I mentioned earlier, thinking about cutting down the spell blade to 2. So, but it's very thought provoking. I do like the new games. They're frustrating at times due to bonds. Obviously, it's just a very frustrating card, and then take up the mantle makes it times 2 or times 3. And yeah, but it's fun. I'll admit. Sometimes I think I would like to play LL, but then I see that and I will need to face BS decks like new, and I go, nah. Yeah, I'm still getting my like head wrapped around what purpose LL is really serving. Like who, I don't know. I haven't quite figured it out. But I get to play Briar, so hey, I'll take it. All right. I just want to say thanks everybody for joining me. I really do appreciate it. And uh yeah, I'll be back next week. Not sure about the topic. We'll probably do the set review. Yeah, set review, LL tier list, then new set tier list. That'll be the plan. And I will see everybody next